Welcome to the Dream Oracle podcast with your host, Ashley, where we journey through the realms of dreams to unveil the hidden messages of the subconscious. Join me as we connect to the divine and explore the deeper layers of the mind. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you all had a wonderful few weeks. I know it's been pretty crazy for me. I've had so much happening, and I won't get into what's been happening just because of the dream that I'm going to be reading today. I'll get into it after the dream because I think it kind of correlates with everything that's been happening. I'm going to get right into the dream today just because I will be talking a lot about what's been happening because this dream, and it's interesting because I was going to read another dream, but I just didn't feel connected like it was the one yet. So I'm going to get into this dream and then we'll go into the card that I pulled, which I pulled only one card. So in this dream, I was living in a house a couple blocks from the water. My daughter and I received information that a bomb was put into one of our electronic devices. We were taking everything apart carefully, and I found the bomb with a timer of 7 minutes and 46 seconds. I was rushing to the river to throw the bomb in the water, but I didn't make it to the water. When the timer went off, the bomb didn't go off. The timer just reset with another 7 minutes and 46 seconds. So I was rushing to get to the water again and made it to some factory that was close to the water. The factory had a big open area with nothing around. I threw the bomb there and waited for it to go off, but it never did, and I woke up. End here. So what I find interesting about this dream when I was trying to pull a card, and just to kind of like recap and give a summary, I mean, that was pretty straightforward, but me and my daughter were notified that there was some sort of bomb put in one of our electronic devices. And I remember going through every single electronic device in the house, taking it apart, and finally found it with a timer that said 7 minutes and 46 seconds. And this dream was back in February. I wrote the date down, February 3rd, 2025. And I think the timer was going down. So I was running to the water to throw this bomb in there so that it would go off in the water and not anywhere near land and ruin anything. And I was trying to get there and I didn't make it to the water. And the timer, it went off. But the bomb didn't go off. And then it reset again with another 7 minute, 46 seconds. So I start running again. And didn't make it to the water, but I made it to this factory, there was no workers. It was almost like the factory was kind of closed. And as I'm saying that, I'm kind of picking up some stuff, what it could mean. So the factory was closed, like it had been abandoned, closed, and I throw this bomb in this factory so that it doesn't ruin anything that is being used or anything like that. And the bomb never went off. So what I find interesting, because the card that I pulled, I'm not going to read the whole card just because I don't think most of it means anything, but I pulled the card number 22. And again, this is from the Dream Reading Cards by Rose and Sierra. And the card number 22 is colors and numbers. And then on the card, it says, what feelings are you struggling to acknowledge? How do you see the world around you? What's not adding up in your life? And then the only part that I'm going to read, because there wasn't any colors that stuck out to me. I don't dream in black and white. I dream in just normal colors. Sometimes colors might stick out to me, but I don't really, not too often. It's just normal scenery that's happening. So the only thing I'm going to read here is look at the relationship between the numbers in your date of birth, your house number, or family group, or any other events that are significant to you. It could be a timetable, flight number, time on the clock, or many other numbers related to things. Your dream may be alerting you to some relevance to these numbers. If you dream of numbers, write them down. So there's not much information there. So I looked at the numbers, 746, 7 minutes, 46 seconds. That's what was on the clock. Now, I kind of broke it down to see what each number could mean for me. Now, 7 is, if you correlate it to the month, that would be July, which my daughter was born in July and my daughter was in the dream with me. 4 is April, which the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head in April would be my niece's birthday. And then 6 would be June. and my grandpa's birthday's in June. So I didn't really feel anything off of, like, that's just so separate. Like my niece, my daughter, my niece, my grandpa. And I'm like, I don't really think that really means anything. So if I put them together, 746, I looked up what the spiritual or angel number 746 means. And I'm just going to read what Google says here. And I find it so fitting for everything that's been happening. And I'll get into everything that's been happening. But so angel number 746 signifies spiritual growth, harmony, and divine protection. It encourages you to embrace your intuition and stay focused on your spiritual path, while also acknowledging your earthly responsibilities. The number 7 symbolizes spiritual awakening, wisdom, and intuition, while 4 represents stability and building a strong foundation. The number 6 signifies love, family, and home, adding a layer of emotional depth to the message. And then there's a bit more here, which I haven't read yet, so I'm going to read with you guys. So the number 7, that you are on the right path and encourage you to trust your inner wisdom and intuition. And then balance and harmony. The combination of 4 and 6 emphasizes the importance of finding balance between your spiritual and earthly needs, focusing on building a solid foundation while also nurturing your emotional well-being. And then divine protection. The presence of 7 and 4 indicates that your angels are watching over you and offering guidance and protection. Embrace your intuition. You are encouraged to listen to your intuition and trust your inner voice for guidance and direction. And then focus on your spiritual path. The message is to stay committed to your spiritual journey, even amidst life's challenges. In essence, angel number 746 encourages you to embrace your spiritual growth, find balance in your life, and trust in the support and guidance of your guardian angels. And I find that all so very fascinating and so fitting for everything that's been happening since February. I have opened the doors to my connection with the spirit side. My spiritual journey has just like been progressing and progressing. I've been contacting, spirits who have passed away. I've done a couple spirit-led mediumship readings. And I've learned so much during those readings. And I find it very interesting because I am and was having a hard time finding balance between the spirit side and my, human side, where I have to figure out, what, because we are human. Like, I am human. I have to work. I have to pay bills. I have to do all these things. I can't just stay tuned into spirit side and ignore all the human qualities and my human side and my human responsibilities. So I'm finding a hard time balancing the spiritual side of everything that I've opened the doors to, as well as my human side. And it's like I have to set boundaries on where and when I can fully tune in to the spirit side. And because I've really had the door opened the whole time and been receiving random messages the whole time and different, things happening. So I think that basically what this is kind of telling me is to find that balance, create that balance, and set the boundaries to not be, more one-sided. Like you kind of like 50-50, right? Not to ignore your spiritual or my spiritual journey. Even the one line says, focus on your spiritual path. The message is to stay committed to your spiritual journey, even amidst life's challenges. So even though I have all these human mundane things going on, I still need to find the balance between both, because I know for a fact that this is my calling to open all these doors to the spiritual side, my intuition, connecting with spirit. And it's been such a crazy journey, and everything that's been happening, like every time I connect to spirit and get information, validation does 100% help. So when I do get that validation, it does make me feel like, and some of the stuff is crazy that I get, and it's just so healing and so rewarding in a way to connect somebody to their loved one who has passed, because they get healing from it and I get healing from it. And it's just this big, huge circle of like love and healing. I mean, not everything I get is, happy stuff. Some of it is sad stuff, but I think that's part of the journey as well. Like you have to embrace all aspects, not just all, sunshine and rainbows. Like there is, sad parts of life and not so great parts of life, especially, when a loved one has passed away. There's the combination of happy and sad memories. So I think that that's kind of another thing dream is kind of showing me, is to embrace both happy and sad. Because again, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. There is some dark, stormy days, but it's getting through those days and moving past it and continuing on, because, tomorrow is a new day. Every day is a start to a fresh day. And yeah, sure, you might have quite a few days back to back that are stormy and gloomy, but the sun will come out eventually, and you will see that rainbow, and you will have many, many good days as well. And I think it's really important to give yourself the time and the space to experience all that, and not think that, if you're having a couple days, a week, a month of stormy, gloomy days, don't judge yourself for that. Allow yourself to feel that and go through that. Because if you stop yourself from experiencing that, you won't be able to move past it. You won't learn to process that. You have to embrace it and process it and move past it. And if you stop yourself from doing that, you'll continue to be in that spiral of dark, gloomy days. So let the sun come out. Experience the dark, gloomy days. Let the sun come out. See the rainbow, because it will be there eventually. And I think another thing that I kind of want to point out in this dream too is the fact that I had a timer on this bomb, and I felt like I had to be like, I had to get rid of this or be somewhere within this time frame, like really fast. I had to get there really fast in order for this bomb to not explode and ruin anything. But once I didn't make it to where I was going to not let the bomb go off, it just reset the timer. And then I started running again to this open, kind of abandoned field. It wasn't a field, it was like an abandoned factory. And I think that what that kind of means for me is, like, the factory represents a big part of myself that I have kind of kept away and locked away. And the fact that when I made it there again, the timer went off. So it's almost kind of like you're expecting something in a certain amount of time. It doesn't happen. And then the timer resets and you give yourself another expectation. And then you have this time where you want this expectation to be met. So I think that kind of correlates with expecting something in a certain amount of time. And then the factory itself, I think, represents parts of me, or a big part of me, that has been neglected or overlooked or hidden away. And when I brought this bomb to this factory, it doesn't go off, it doesn't explode. I just wake up. So it's almost like, I'm giving myself these expectations to have things done in a certain amount of time. And this brings me back to going with the flow, because I've always had that. It's like I give myself these time frames to meet my expectations or my goals, rather than just going with the flow and experiencing the journey and the process. So, I mean, I've received that message, going with the flow, so many times, and it's coming back to me again in this dream, because, like I said, I'm giving myself that time limit. Like, I need to have all these things done within this time limit. Or, if you focus more on like the spiritual side of what I'm getting from this dream, it's like I'm giving myself this time limit, or whatever you want to call it, to have all these abilities surface. And there is no time limit. It could take many years for things to surface, and some things may not surface. I just need to go with the flow and experience the journey and experience the process, because that is what life is about, is experiencing the journey and experiencing the process, and allowing yourself to feel all of the emotions and everything to do with what that journey and what that process is. And if you give yourself a time limit and set like your expectations into such a time, like a small box to figure it all out in, you're going to be missing the experience and the journey, and you won't be able to process and move to the next step properly. And that brings us back to the staircase. That I really love the staircase analogy in life. So each staircase is a process and a journey. Sorry, each step is a process and a journey. And if you're constantly rushing to get to the next stair, you're going to miss the process. You're going to miss the journey. You're going to miss the lessons. You can't rush through life because, again, at the top of the staircase, what is there besides restarting the process and the journeys over again? You have to enjoy, embrace, even if the stair that you're on right now is a very tough stair. And that is part of the process and the journey of life, having some parts of it be hard. And I know that sounds crappy to say, but again, going back to life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. There is things that we experience to either give us the strength, build us, make us learn different ways, look at things in a different aspect. And, if something is a repeating pattern, look at that, because repeating patterns typically mean that you're missing something. You're missing the reason why that is happening. So if you have repeating patterns, whatever it may be, like financial cycles that are repeating, relationship cycles, you keep meeting the same people over and over again, and your relationship kind of ends in the same way, you got to look at the commonalities in that. And I mean, typically you're the common denominator in all of those situations. And I know it is so hard to look at ourselves and what we're doing wrong. And it might not even be something that we're doing wrong. It could just be something that we have to change. Maybe we need to look internally on ourselves and focus inward and give ourselves more time to self-reflect. It could be a vast majority of things that you need to look at when we're looking at repeating cycles and patterns. I know I kind of went everywhere there, but I feel like all of this is kind of like related to the dream. But yeah, just basically, don't give yourself a time limit when you're setting goals or anything. Like, don't put a time limit on it. Give yourself the space to go past that, because it could take a longer time to figure out or learn what it is that you're needing to figure out and learn. I am going to pull an oracle card for that dream just to see what kind of message I get from that, if anything that I've said kind of goes with the oracle card that I'm going to be pulling. And I am going to be using the Rose and Sierra Dream Reading card oracle cards. So let's see what I get from that. So as you all know, I pause my recording when I go to do my cards. It's actually really, really crazy. I wish that, I think I'm going to do some of my episodes video records so that you can see when I am shuffling these cards. I'm not picking them out, but I actually got 5. Is this 5 cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards. And I'm not going to go to the book because I feel like with what's on the cards, it basically goes with everything that I just said. So the first card, well, I'm not really sure which card came first because they just flew everywhere and they landed on the ground. But the first card when I picked them up, the first card is Nature Gaia. So respect the beauty of your body as you respect Mother Earth. Remain connected to nature. You are being protected. That is so relatable and connected to everything I just said about the number 746, basically kind of finding that balance. So remain connected to nature, finding the balance between both worlds. And then the second card is Trust, and it says, trust yourself and the universe's plan for you. Do not give your trust to others lightly. When one door closes, another opens. So basically like opportunities in life. So kind of with that saying, I said earlier, tomorrow is a fresh start. So kind of like the same thing. When one door closes, another opens. So tomorrow is a new day. Basically, you're closing the door to today and opening the door to tomorrow. So that's really interesting. And then the other card I got was Wisdom. So it says, experience and failure lead to wisdom. Apply wisdom to a present situation. learn from the spirit world and its collective knowledge. So experience and failure lead to wisdom. So basically, allowing yourself to look at both the dark, stormy days and the sunny rainbow days. So both of those experiences lead to wisdom. And then the other card I got is freedom. So free yourself from limiting beliefs and attitudes. Be an advocate of freedom so others can be free to pursue their dreams. Unshackle the chains that bind you from being the person you want to be. Now, so unshackling the chains, that means letting go of the time constraint you give yourself, or myself, because this is my dream, but I feel like a lot of people could hear this and take this information and run with it. So free yourself from the time frame or time limit that you give yourself on a goal or a plan or something you're trying to achieve. Because in my opinion, and the things that I've learned, time is a human thing that we have created and doesn't actually exist. So I think here on Earth, and the humans here are the only ones who have created this time with the numbers and giving yourselves limits and hours in the day. So you have to allow yourself more time to do things that you want to do and not put a limit on it. Because like I said, it could take a very long time for your goal to transpire and come to surface and fruition. So the last card that I pulled is gratitude. And that just kind of goes with, it goes hand in hand with not putting the time limit, time constraint, because for example, for me, I've struggled with financial issues for a while. It's a repeating cycle, a repeating pattern. So I've always put this time limit or time frame as to when I want everything to transpire, when I want my financial situation to be solved and taken care of, and I don't want to struggle anymore. I've always put this time frame on it. Like it needs to be done by this date and not past that. Like everything has to be taken care of. So when you put the time constraint on things, you're looking so much at what life would look like after that you miss and don't focus on what you have now. So the card is gratitude, and it says focus on the things you do have rather than things you don't or can't have. Gratitude is another form of prayer. Practice daily. Appreciate everything and everyone in your life. And I know I've said this before on my podcast in many, many episodes about having gratitude for things you do have rather than things you don't have. Because if you focus on what it is that you want and where you want to be rather than what you do have, you're putting that out into the universe that you're not happy and grateful for the things that you do have. So I think that it's just kind of a mind play where you keep wanting and wanting and wanting. The universe is going to give you that want back because you're putting that out there that you want these things. You want and want and want. So the universe is going to see that you actually want to keep wanting, if that makes sense. And that's what you're going to get. So you have to focus on the things that you do have and be grateful for the things that you do have. I mean, obviously, yes, it's good to set goals and ambitions and not be motivated, but there's a difference between focusing so much. Like for me, example, for my money situation, I've always focused so much on I want more money to be able to pay my bills and not have to struggle with taking from one bill to the next bill. And I focused so much on the wanting of more money, I missed the things that I do actually have. And I will say, there's some things that have happened and taken place. And while no, I didn't win the lottery, yes, I am still, I can't say I'm still behind on my bills because everything's kind of slowly falling into place where it's like one bill is taken care of, the next is taken care of. Like it's all kind of falling into place. And I feel like that's because I focused on what I do have. And what I've created, this home that I've created, this family like all my family's in my house is full. And I focused on that as well as my spiritual journey and all the things that are happening rather than this financial wanting more money. And I feel like it's just all kind of falling into place. And I'm not going to put a time constraint on it because I know that the universe has my back. I know that everything that is happening for a reason. And I'm not going to allow myself to fall into a dark hole over this situation. I'm going to rise above and be happy and focus on the things that I do have and that I do love. And there's so many freaking things right now in my life that I do have that I am so thankful for. Like one, my podcast. I love it. Absolutely. I actually just started going live on TikTok, which I said I'd never go live on TikTok. I did that because one, my friend, which, I love my group of friends that I have, my community I found online. I love them so much. I don't know if they want me to say their names. I'll ask them next time and then I'll mention them, but they know who they are. So we talk every single day. So I'm very thankful for them. And the reason why I wanted to go live on TikTok is so that I can join my friend when he goes live on TikTok, because he's opened the doors to his mediumship side. If you have to give a title to something, it's mediumship and spiritual journey and everything. So I'm thankful for my podcast, my spiritual community that I found, who's kind of like pushed me in a way to step out of my comfort zone. And I have gone live on my own on TikTok and I actually love it. And I have done readings for people who I don't even know, oracle readings and spirit-led readings. And it's just kind of like opened my eyes to so many opportunities. And, I've created kind of a goal. I'm not going to pressure it. I'm not going to put a time constraint on it. I'm just going to go with the flow. Like, yes, I have this goal in my mind, but I'm going to allow it to flow in naturally. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to push it. But continuing with what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my house. I'm thankful for my family, my kids, my mom, my brother, my 2 jobs that I have, good paying jobs. Well, yes, one is kind of going crazy right now with things that are happening, but I'm still very thankful that I am working. And I asked the universe, I said, whatever happens, I just want to continue working. And the universe gave me that. So I'm going to continue to be thankful for the things that I have. I'm going to continue to ask the universe to have my back, even though I feel like I don't need to ask because I know that the universe does. But you can ask out loud for certain things, and you might not get it the next day or the next week. It could take a little while, but so long as you focus on the positive and be thankful for what you do have, more positive things will come to you. Because again, if you continue to want and want and want, the universe will think that you are just in a state of wanting and you want to continue wanting, and that's what you will get back. That was a lot. I rambled so much, but I feel like it's very important rambling. And I'm not going to judge myself for rambling because this information that I'm giving here is actually pretty great information and advice. So I'm not going to judge myself for it. Every time I have an episode, I have this little voice in the back of my head that is like, you're talking too much, you're saying too much, you're going off track. But I feel like it's not off track. I think it all kind of circles back to the same thing, which is just enjoying and embracing and experiencing the journey of life. And each step is a separate experience, a separate journey. And it might take you many years to move to the next step, and that is okay. And know that that is where you are supposed to be, and focus on cycles and patterns that keep repeating, and really reflect on that and see why and what it is that you could be potentially missing from that cycle and pattern, especially if it's a bad cycle or bad pattern that keeps repeating. You obviously want that cycle and pattern to end at some point and a new one start, a new good one, positive one to move past that. So just focus on what it is that you could be missing from that cycle and that pattern. Now, I did pull out my new Oracle card deck that I absolutely love so much, and I am going to pull an Oracle card, and I feel like the only thing I'm going to say is what it is that we need to hear in the moment right now. The new deck is the Healing Spirits Oracle. I'll post all my pictures on Instagram like I always do. It is Gordon Smith, and the artwork is by Naomi Walker. Again, I'll post pictures so everyone, you can all see. everything that I have, all the oracle cards and the dream card that I pulled. So I'm going to pull an oracle card from this deck, and I'm just going in with the mindset of, or the question, what it is that we need to hear. And I'm hoping that whatever I pull can resonate for anybody listening. That's crazy. I got 6 cards and they're all actually beautiful cards. I don't know if there's a limit to the images that I can add to Instagram. So I'm really going to I might have to make 2 posts for this episode. We will figure that out. But the cards that I got, the first one, be the best version of yourself and start today. The second one, your soul will find those you are meant to experience life with. The next one, happiness is freedom from fear. And I'm going to come back to that one in a second. So the next one is, you are your purpose. And the next one, all is well. And the last one, endurance is the key to success. So I'm going to just touch base a little bit on that one. So endurance is the key to success. So basically, in a nutshell, everything that I've kind of been saying today, to allow yourself to experience everything, all emotions, dark, light, in between, and to keep going and not fall into like a dark hole. And to basically just experience and grow and keep going and coming back to repeating cycles and patterns. If it is repeating, if it is a cycle that you're keep seeing a pattern, figure out what it is that is you need to focus on. But yeah, so endurance is the key to success. So be strong, keep going, and everything will be okay. Now, I'm going to come back to this other card because it's sticking out to me for some reason. So happiness is freedom from fear. So what I'm kind of understanding from that is that we're so afraid, or we create this fear when we don't get things in life, or going back to that time constraint. We create this fear with a time constraint that we won't make everything come to fruition within that time frame. So then when, things do come to fruition within that time frame, you set a goal, a time frame with that goal, and you create it like it happens, you then feel freedom from that and are happy with that. So when you create this time frame, you're implementing fear with that you won't achieve that goal within that time frame. So happiness is freedom from fear. So if we didn't give ourselves that time frame, we wouldn't be creating the fear to begin with. And that just like blows my mind that I got that from that card, and that this card stuck out for me because it's just so like it resonates so much with me and everything that I just said. And I'm just going to read it again. So happiness is freedom from fear. When you create this time frame, time limit, time constraint to achieve a goal you've made, you are creating the fear that you will not achieve that goal. And while yes, you may achieve that goal in the time frame that you've created, therefore you feel the freedom and happiness upon completion. But if you didn't give yourself the time frame and time constraint to begin with, you wouldn't be creating that fear. That just blows my mind. And I'm just going to stop it there because I think that just kind of sums everything up in a nutshell, to not give yourself or create a time constraint when you are creating a goal. And now I'm not just talking about a little goal. I mean, I don't think that you should be giving yourself time constraints with little goals. I know like if you have an exam or an essay that you have to study for that is due on so-and-so day, I mean, that's a little different, but I'm looking at the bigger picture here, guys. So I know some of you might be sitting there like, well, I can't just not have a due date for certain things. But yes, a due date is different, in my opinion, than what I'm talking about. I felt like I needed to say that. Anyways, that is everything for this episode. Thank you guys so much for coming back and listening to me ramble all my nonsense. And for those of you who actually take and value my information, I'm assuming everyone who listens does take and value my information. Otherwise, you wouldn't come back and listen. But thank you so much. I really enjoy having these discussions with myself and my microphone and my listeners on the other side. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for dreaming with me. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Sweet dreams, everyone.